You signed your a 4-year contract on 2010. Was that you said for 50,000 for a 4-year contract? How much was that deal that you signed for in 2010?
It was a little bit north of $1 million, but the signing bonus was 50,000. That's what I
Okay,
got
okay,
guaranteed immediately to me.
okay. What did you get with that when you first got your first check at NFL?
Oh man, I can't even remember what I got. I think I might have like took my parents out to eat or something like that. I'm not sure, but something very
Right,
low key. I'm very conservative, so I didn't go.
right.
I didn't go crazy.
You didn't ball out. You didn't ball wild, go
Absolutely
crazy.
not. That is not my character.
In 2010, you was chosen the second smartest athlete by Sporting News, behind baseball player Craig Breslow. First of all, I don't know who Craig Breslow is, and I like sports, baseball. Who is that?
I think he was a pitcher for the Oakland A's. I'm not sure. I wish they can do it again and say like, where have these guys gone now? Maybe he's
Right.
gone and done wonderful things, but my story's been well documented. I'm happy where I am and happy that I'm able to use that list sometimes with my patients when they say, "Oh, Dr. Rolle, I heard that you were a good football player." I say, "Yeah, I was also smart back then too. You can look at this list and have me near the top."
Right.
So hopefully you let me operate on your brain. So yeah, it's all good.
2012, you played for my team. You won my team, but you didn't play much. You play at all. It's the Steelers.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, no, I didn't play much. I was behind Troy, and so I was special teams behind him, and again feeling that stigma, really that pressure, brother, that pressure of, there's other things that this young man can do. There's other things that he can go on and be, whereas somebody else needs it. When I got released from the Steelers, the general manager called me and said, "You are playing very well. You are balling out here." So I said, "Okay, well, why am I in front of you if this is the case?" And he said, "Well, there's another guy who maybe not as good as you, but this is the only option that he has is football. But we're not worried about you. You're going to be great whatever you do." And so I looked at that as saying, well, I'm giving all of myself to this sport and I'm committing myself to this sport. If I wanted to go and be a doctor right now or be something else, I would have done that. But I'm choosing to continue to play this sport that I love. When I texted Troy Polamalu, Ike Taylor, Ryan Clark, my teammates, the other DBs on the team, they were all shocked. They were like, "Man, you're playing so well. We can't believe it. But one thing we want you to know is that you did not embarrass yourself. You went out here and played well, and you balled out." And so feeling that validation from my teammates who see me every day, who knew what I can do and my talent, that gave me a little bit more comfort. But it was definitely challenging to leave football because I felt like it was taken from me too early. But as I mentioned before, maybe there's a way that God was protecting me to make sure that I was still healthy enough to go on to my next chapter of my life. And so that's how I tried to flip it, try to spin it so that I didn't walk around with a burden and feeling like I was lamenting every second of the day. I said, let me focus on the MCAT, get into medical school, and then be a neurosurgeon to try to save lives.
It's funny that what you said just pointed out to me, stuck out when you said, because that's all he has is to play football. You're going to be all right. And I feel like, and I see like a lot of recruiters in all different sports, baseball, basketball, they rather go get, football. They rather get that kid that's all he's doing. He has nothing else. He's so hungry. Parents, single parents, and instead of getting another kid that's probably well off, both parents, and is good, but still athletic, still talented, let's get this kid right here because that's all he knows. He can't do anything else. Is that fair?
Yeah, no, it's not fair to me, in my opinion. I think it's not fair to the athlete, either one of those type of athletes. One, because I feel that if once the sports leaves that person, whether it be through injury or whether it be just their time is up, what do they do then, right? You just throw them away and then you don't help them be good men, good leaders, good citizens. And you say, well, that's all he had and that's all we put into him. And now he's done. We don't care about him anymore. But instead of thinking about the individual, the woman, the man, the athlete who has their eyes set on something beyond the sport. They're more than an athlete. They're not defined just by the helmet that they wear, the jersey that they wear. These are the kind of athletes that I want, and these are the kind of athletes that I believe organizations and college and pros should try to foster and garner, because these are the ones who are going to be great leaders and going to change the world one day. I tell people all the time, I'm biased, but I feel like athletes have the perfect design to go on and lead companies, to lead countries, to lead industry, because they know how to work together as a team. They know how to communicate. They know how to lose, and they know how to bounce back from that loss and have another win. They know how to prepare. They know how to communicate. They know how to take coaching. All these things that some people who don't understand the pressure it takes to play sports, may not get. And so now I'm walking into my life as a physician.
Not all athletes, though, man. Not all athletes. You gotta have those leader athletes that's could take over the team. That took over the team. Because not every athlete, I don't think. Like when you say athletes, I'm just saying not all athletes, though.
Yeah,
You got some athletes who just ride on the bench and just rather just sit there and collect a check and steal the check. Let's be real, right?
Certainly. You have some outliers, no question. But I think large majority, if you were to juxtapose the athlete pool and population with maybe some of the others who are, coming from affluent backgrounds, never been challenged, never had pressure, had everything given to them. I don't know. I just feel like the grind and the competitiveness that you have to take to push through some things as an athlete is much different. You have challenges as a physician all the time that you go through, that you face. And I've seen in my own personal eyes how people who have not come from this background sometimes wilter under pressure. It breaks them. It busts pipes, right? That's what pressure can do. And then other times, those who have even a college or high school level athlete, they sort of tap into something that gets them through that challenging moment and gives them that resiliency and that toughness to make it through, women or men. So I still hold true to that sentiment. I think that athletes have a great design.
They won't crack under pressure because they're used to that, right? I can see that. Okay, so 2013, you announced that you were leaving the NFL to attend med school. What actually turned that switch on now? I know that you said they released you, but what actually turned the switch on? Like, I'm going to go back to school, back to FSU, and take up medicine.
Well, when I was in the 5th grade, actually, let me go back a little bit further. I read a book called Gifted Hands by Ben Carson, pediatric neurosurgeon, black gentleman from Johns Hopkins, separated 2 twins from the occipital lobe and had both of them live. Fantastic procedure, never had been done before. I valued his story. I valued his move towards being an outstanding scholar, and I looked at him as an academic hero of mine. So I knew once I was done playing football, the next move for me was going to be medicine, and particularly neurosurgery, because I fell in love with the brain. I thought the brain and the spine, the central nervous system, is such a beautiful system that controls the way we speak, our body temperature, our language, how we control our heart rate, our respiratory rate. All of this comes from this small little gelatinous structure that we have to preserve in our head. And I loved it. And I thought there was so much research to be done through it. And I thought that maybe if I'm a neurosurgeon, that I also could help the sport of football with concussions and CTE, some of the things that my teammates were facing. So once I was done playing football, I prayed, talked to my mother, went back to my board that I had written down my goals in life. One was playing NFL, crossed it off. Next one was be a neurosurgeon. That was the next goal, and I had to take the 2% weight process that I write about in my book to sort of move towards that goal. And so that's how it started.
It's interesting to hear that, like you a brain surgeon, like you just don't meet somebody that wants to be a brain surgeon young, and you had your plan. Dope. Do you see a lot of black surgeons, brain surgeons in your field?
Unfortunately not. Yeah, not a lot of black neurosurgeons, not a lot of black female neurosurgeons, so the representation is certainly quite low. I have a mentoring group that I work with young black men, pre-med and medical school, who are interested in neurosurgery, trying to cultivate the next generation of neurosurgeons, especially at Ivy League schools and Ivy League institutions like I'm at. It's imperative that patients see us in those positions, and I'm trying to do everything I can to help that.
So 2017, you graduated. Now you're officially a neurosurgeon. Got your residency at Massachusetts General Hospital and Harvard Medical School. How did you get to that point now? Like, did you have to know people? Did you, apply? Now it's like, 'cause this is now a different field now. Now it's not going to try out. You're not going to work out. So what was it to make you get into the Harvard Medical School and to be a resident at Massachusetts General Hospital?
Absolutely. It's the best hospital in the country. I'm kind of biased. It's phenomenal. Great research, great facilities, and nurses are amazing. And obviously the neurosurgical department is great as well. It took a lot of work, and it took shadowing of neurosurgeons in Florida, working on my hand-eye coordination, my dexterity. I was tying knots as I was watching football on TV. I'd sit on my couch and tie knots, surgical knots, over and over and over again. I was doing dissections with my hands. I was eating with my left hand. I'm right-handed, but I was eating with my left hand to sort of make sure that I can hold the scalpel and the knife and the tissues of the brain tumors with both hands well. I was reading a lot of articles. I was talking to mentors. I was putting in the 2% grind every single day of getting a little bit better at all points of my life so that I can position myself to get into Harvard Medical School and to go to Massachusetts General Hospital, because I knew it would train me to be a neurosurgeon who could take care of the most sick and vulnerable population. So it was a great ride, a great journey, and it's one that has put me in a position again to stand out as a leader, to be a scientist, and to help some people who need it the most.
Did you have to intern? Did you do any interning while, during that process?
So the intern year is your first year of residency, and so you spend some time rotating on general surgery, neurology, other services that aren't neurosurgery. You also need to take a USMLE, like a board exam, to get in and make sure that you're qualified academically. So there are some sort of metrics that you need to meet, but ultimately the hospital and the residency program has to favor you. You have to favor them. You both rank each other, number one, number two, and the computer puts an algorithm together to see if you fall in line and match with that particular program, and then you move forward. And thankfully, it worked out for me, because it's been a blessing to be trained at Mass General and see some of the most complex pathologies, not only in America, but around the world.